The USC men's water polo team took down the number 2 ranked Cal Bears this weekend 10-6. The Trojans improved to 18-1 overall and 2-0 in MPSF play. I'm now joined by Hannah and Julia to play a little game of What's That Word? Because I want to find out how good you guys think this team really is. So question 1 for you, Julia. Let's see, the Trojans have lost just one game this season, 10-8 defeat earlier in the season to Cal. So the revenge this weekend means that this USC team is what?
I chose learning because I think the Trojans did a really good job learning from the past loss against Cal and then addressing that and changing it and then, securing a win this past weekend. In the first game against Cal, they let Cal get a 5-point lead, and then the score was 6-2 by halftime. And then eventually the score ended being 10-8, and Cal still won. So the Trojans' offense did do better, but they were still, Cal was replying every single time. And the difference in this game is that USC focused on their defense because they knew that the defense would be how they were going to win. So they pinned down the top scorers of Cal's team, including Johnny Hooper, who is their attacker and top scorer, and only let him score 2 goals. And so by doing that, they were able to prevent Cal's team from scoring right off the bat and getting a lead. And then that was how they were able to secure a win right away. And it also helps that the goalie, McQuinn Barron, made 17 saves, which is crazy. But that definitely helped them get the win as well.
Mm-hmm. I think that they did learn a lot, but I also think that they're pretty fired up because they just beat the number 2 team. It's a huge deal. I think it gave USC great momentum, especially going into especially when they're going to play the undefeated team, UCLA, in a few weeks. Heading into the MPSF tournament pretty soon, I think it's also great that they have such a big win coming off of Cal, and I think they're just really pretty fired up overall, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Pretty fired up. I like it. Also, you touched on the defense. The defense has been looking absolutely dominant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they have, they've given up double-digit points in just one game this season, so they're very scary looking. But in your eyes, this defensive presence is what, Hannah?
I'd say dominant. I think that it's been impeccable all season long, and the Cal game was no exception to this. I think that, like what Julie was saying earlier, is that their defense was on point during the Cal game, and they stopped their best offensive players, which is huge. I also think that McQuinn has a huge advantage as well as playing in Rio and having all of that extra training really set him apart this season. And, I think also our 3 best players, Mateo Morelli, James Walters, and Blake Edwards, are 3 of our best defensive players. And I think that when they're on their game, nothing gets past them.
Yeah, I do agree that the Trojans' defense, when it's on, it's unstoppable. But my word is priority, because I think that in order to beat these top teams, the Trojans' defense, when it's on and when it's strong, is the priority to doing so. Mm-hmm. So I know, for example, again, with the Cal game, as we talked about earlier, they were able to do it by pinning down those top scorers. Similar when they beat Pacific and Stanford this year. In the Pacific game, they doubled down on Pacific's power plays and were able to secure that win. And similar in Stanford game, they shut Stanford out in the first and third quarters. And by doing so, they automatically, secured a win by doing that. So I just think, like you said, our defense is really, when they're on, they're unstoppable and possibly unbeatable.
Yeah, it's great to watch too because they were putting up a lot of goals against Cal, but they also were doing everything they could in their power to make sure that they didn't get anything past them. So it was just a great defensive play all around.
The Trojans have just 2 games left to play in the regular season, and one of those is a date with top-ranked UCLA, who will be coming in with a 55-game win streak, which is an NCAA record. It's going to be the first and only matchup of the regular season between the crosstown rivals. But I want to know, USC's chances of winning this game and ending that streak are what?
I think all started off with saying, unfortunately, out the window.
Oh man,
I just think that we can't ignore, even though USC has been so strong this season, we can't ignore that streak. I mean, UCLA has been undefeated both this season and last season, and even though we've been playing strong, like I said, it's just, I think that it's such a pressure-filled situation that I just don't think we're going to be able to perform in. And on top of that, we lost to UCLA 4 different times last season, and I just think that their streak and their ability is just much better than we are, and I just don't think we're going to be able to perform and beat them.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I think that the Trojans have a shot that's through the roof of beating UCLA. We just beat the number 2 team. Why can't we beat the number 1 team? I think it's about time that someone breaks UCLA's record, and I think that we're going to do it.
Wow,
Last weekend, Stanford, I know, we'll see. Last weekend, Stanford almost beat UCLA. Stanford's ranked number 6. We're ranked number 3. And they only lost by 1. So I think that if if Stanford came so close to beating UCLA, that I think the Trojans can definitely do it. When USC played Stanford earlier this season, we beat them 8-4, so I think it's definitely possible.
There's going to be a lot on the line and a lot to take care of from either team, you know, because there's a lot at stake, especially heading into the playoffs there. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Those answers were almost as good as the USC team itself, so thank you for that.
Can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can't wait for it.